So what are the three key principles or key three things that you need to do when you're thinking about setting up a network, a group or a panel or something like that? What are those three key ingredients? Hello, my name is David Ford. I'm from ExpertLink, and this is from one of our conversations and co-production. One of the conversations that you can get involved in. So we have these on a monthly basis where there's a network of probably 200 of us, and we get a group of us in a room at any one time, and we have a conversation about all things co-production. And the last conversation was about how do we set up or what do we do, the key ingredients for getting together a group or a network and making it so it can thrive and survive. So before we go on to those three quick key principles or key things, I want to introduce you to our sponsor. Yes, we've got a sponsor today, and the sponsor is the like button. Really like you to hit that like button because it helps the algorithm. It helps YouTube share this video far and wide. And while you're down there, just saying thank you to our sponsor by clicking that like button. Don't forget there's a subscribe button just next to it, and you can even ring a bell so you get the notifications of when we do these. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about those three things. The first thing we talked about, or the first thing that came out in our conversation, was about clarity around the project and making sure that the idea that you have, whatever you're bringing together for the group, it has real clarity around its purpose and intention, and that you as the facilitator or the lead or the person that's trying to attract people into that group are clear about it, and that you can express what the group or the network is about really easily and really quickly. There's something about, I don't know if any of you heard about the elevator pitch. When you're stuck in a lift going up a few floors, the time it takes being able to pitch your idea. It's maybe something as simple as that. Can you pitch your group, what its purpose is and its intention is really clearly in just a few seconds? So that's something maybe you want to think about when you're thinking about your purpose. And also, if you're going to have whatever that purpose or intention is, that it has ambition. I know, a bit of ambition. It's inspirational. But you see, these are the things that, as human beings, we all aspire to something, don't we? A better life. We want our families to have better lives. We're maybe a little bit ambitious. But these are the things that bring in hope, aren't they? And hope is so important in our world because we all hope for, as I said, better lives for us and the others around us, our families and what have you. So bringing that ambition and being a little bit inspirational brings in that hope, and that's probably a key ingredient when you're setting something up, a network or a group. So moving on to our second point was about your stakeholders and how important it is that when you bring in those first stakeholders, those first people into the group, how it's important that you get the right ones. And actually, sometimes it's really important to be intentional with your recruitment. So if you think about a group and you're bringing it together, and the way that you're going to attract more and more people around it is making sure that that group has a bit of energy around it, whatever that energy looks like in whatever world you're moving in, but it has some energy around it. And it's important that if you want that initial bit of energy to come in, that you get the right people in initially, because they're the people who are going to be the salespeople. They're going to be the enthusiasts for your group or your network. They're going to go out and attract others. So think about that and make sure that you get the right people in there. And when you do get them in and you bring them in, is to make sure that that they feel valued. They're really clear about what you're trying to do, but they feel as if they valued in the way that they can input into something to make a difference, to help you realise that ambition, if you like, or those aspirations, So, I mean, we go through a little bit of a process when we bring people into our groups and stuff most of the time. And it's just not a case of like, come on, John, do you want to join us? Actually, we have a bit of we're a bit of purpose around our recruitment, but in doing that, and being sometimes quite intentional about it, it's showing people actually, and even if they have to go through a little bit of a process, that it is important what you're doing. It's an important piece of work, and actually you value them coming into that group, and I think that's, for me, I feel that that's important. People feeling valued when they join in. So that's your stakeholder bit. So maybe be a bit intentional, remembering that these first people in your group, they're the energy bit and the sales people for you, and they're going to go out and promote your network and panel if you like, and also make sure that they feel valued when you first bring them into that group. So the third thing is about an engage and retain strategy. So that's, how do you make sure that people keep coming back and they want to come back, assuming that you have this wonderful group or this wonderful purpose within the group, and it's full of ambition, and it's inspirational and bringing hope, and you've got the right stakeholders on. How do you make sure that they keep engaged and keep coming back, that retaining sort of strategy? Well, one of the things that came out really, really quite strongly is about how that you welcome people, and as a leader, as a facilitator, how you create the atmosphere where people feel at ease and at home, almost at home, where they feel that they can relax and talk and contribute honestly, and actually that you as a facilitator are friendly and make sure that you connect with people, and sometimes maybe go a little bit just outside the group. Maybe it's you bump into a group member or someone down the street or in the corridor, that you spend some time with them, just saying hello and asking how they are. So creating that atmosphere, and when they come in there, they sense that it's there too. So the atmosphere is really important. The other thing was a part of creating the right atmosphere, and I love this one, by the way, is breaking bread. So I use this term all the time, and it's about making sure that, when possible, when we're not on Zoom, is that there's food and teas and coffees there. And if you think about food as a way of engaging people, because actually when you eat and you go out and eat with someone, it's someone quite well, because it's quite an intimate thing, isn't it? And I learned a lesson from an incredible human being in London who was bringing faith groups, different faiths together, and using food as one of the tools to break the ice and get people talking and get people relaxing and stuff. So that intimate thing about food. So that came across as quite important, and the teas and the coffees, obviously, to go with that. And by the way, if you ever come onto any of our stuff and we're around and we're in a group setting, it's pizza. We use pizza. So, but it doesn't have to be pizza. I know of groups that they get free food from people at Pret a Manger. Am I allowed to say Pret a Manger? Places like that. But also other groups where they have a team that, as part of the group, get together. They nip to the shop, buy a couple of loaves, get some butter and some cheese and ham and all that sort of stuff, and then make up the food just before the meeting. So the other thing around the engage and retaining strategy is making sure that things are accessible for people. So that's about the way that we communicate. So if you're producing minutes, if you're producing whatever it is, some paperwork, make sure it's accessible for everyone, because then you start excluding people if people can't, if it's not accessible for them. They don't, maybe I didn't do the best at school. So my vocabulary isn't massive, or I can read and write, but there are other people who perhaps I know, some incredible people in my world who I know got less out of the education system than I did, and they spent a lot of time not engaging with not only education but things that were educational, and so reading and writing isn't their top of their list. They've got a bucket full of other skills, by the way. They're incredible human beings. So actually, if you start putting paperwork and everything is based around paperwork, you're excluding them, and that would be a shame. So one of the things that you might consider is, if we're making things accessible, is about other mediums to communicate. So videos are a great one. I know I'm waffling on a bit now, but do you know what? We use videos all the time. We record our meetings on Zoom. Our record of our meetings is the Zoom recording, and everyone can go back and watch it. And you can get these transcribed for free, or for an absolute minimal fee, £60 a year maybe, to use something like Otter. Google can do it for free, so you can get them transcribed, and so you've got some paperwork to sit with them. But it's about making it accessible for everyone, isn't it? And the other thing is to go that extra mile. And I put on my notes here the big thank yous. One of the things, and it sounds simple, doesn't it? Oh yeah, of course we do that, David. But check in, do you? Do you give those extra big special thank yous, as well as the normal ones, for people, to say thank you for their contributions? Do you pull someone aside occasionally and say, listen, John, Mary, whoever it is, I want to really thank you for your input today. It's been really helpful. Those make a big difference. All of that makes a big difference when you're thinking about retaining the group that you've got and making sure that it stays. So make sure it's super friendly, and that you're welcoming and you're speaking to people. And when you're bumping into them outside of the group, make sure you say hello to them. Use food and teas and coffees and things, because they're a great tool, great way to help people to bond. Make sure your stuff is accessible, and go the extra mile, and big thank yous included in that. So those are the three main things that we came out with. I want to thank you for watching this. If you want to join any of our conversations, or go back and look at some of the other conversations that we've had and the outputs from, it's all on our website. I'll give you a link below. Don't forget to thank the sponsor, the thumbs up, by liking it. And don't forget as well to subscribe and ring that bell, and we'll see you next time. But from our amazing community of co-producers, I think there's like over 200 of us in that group, we're sending you all our love, and we'll hope to see you at some point in the future. And if you want to join us, please do.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up, no matter what.